favor. Just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, good evening, Sigma race fans. We are getting ready here tonight for the season opener, the Armory Digital 400 at Armory Digital Superspeedway, based here in Seattle, Washington. And we're getting set up. The qualifying session is already done and over. The misguided missile, Michael LeBeau on the top spot again. You have Brian DeBlanc, second quickest. Lucas Holmes, third. Braden Varga, fourth. Nate Newman, fifth. Tyler Shangle, sixth. Jimmy Logano, seventh. Rich Roy, Gannon Bird, Fireball Robert, Kara Shangle, Dave Steele Jr., Tasha Wright, Liz Shangle, and Lynn Farrell. Quite a few of the Shangles representing the top 15 here tonight. A little bit deeper in the field, some newcomers as well joining the fold. Luis Rodriguez has been in it, but has not run a full season. So this is his first full season in the Sigma Cup Series. Preston Kundo right behind him gets an opportunity to drive the number 77 Dodge for Tyler Shangle Racing, one of the winningest motors out there. Louis Trost, Sebastian Torres, a brand new candidate, one of the 5 drivers making their first ever series start here tonight. Brandon Butler, the second, also making his series debut. Tristan Reams, Jacob Shangle, Tom Cording, Bradley Ream, Carson Bowers, Kellen Relic, Ryan White, Tyler Aspinall. Then you've got his teammate Alex Crowther right behind him. Monte Shangle bringing the number 16 for Biffle. Tonight, qualified 30th. Then you got Eli the Wolf, Ewan Wood Army, Adam Starr, Tyler Landa, Finley Herwig, Cooper Dwight, Kevin Xavier, Hayden Bergeron, Daniel Paulus Jr., Wyatt Wilkinson, Chad Hertenstein, Trevor Walker, Chris Harvey, Jonah Burridge, Chaz Chadwick, and your 2025 Sigma Cup runner-up, 2024 Sigma Cup champion, Al Bunch is starting dead last on the field here tonight. The switch from Jaguar to Dodge doesn't seem to be treating him as kindly at the moment, so we'll see how he does here. If he can run 46th to the lead to win this thing, it would be a tall order for sure. Starting dead last to find victory lane.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
This is kind of wild. I mean, the fact that the misguided missile, Michael LeBeau, he has had so many pole positions in his career in the Sigma Cup Series. No joke, man. He's come back, and he's come back with fury with these pole positions, already starting this year with a pole position. He was on the front for the qualifiers last night, and so just another pole to add to his resume of his already 30, 40 plus pole positions in the Sigma Cup. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new paint schemes here tonight, featuring the opening of the 16th anniversary for the Sigma Cup Series. After we lost Biffle this year, we figured it was fitting in the 16th anniversary to really pay homage to Greg Biffle, who drove the number 16 car fiercely, heroically, and really put down the rubber. So here we are tonight. Green flag about to wave there in the restart. Here we are rolling tonight for the 2026 season of Sigma Cup Racing. 154 laps is the distance. Grand total of 400 miles. Really, it doesn't matter where you start in these super speedway races. Big key is avoiding any wrecks and chaos that may ensue wherever you're running. But ultimately, 154 laps here tonight. You'll be fine starting dead last because you'll have plenty of time to work your way up through the field. Michael LeBeau with the pole. Looks like he's going to kind of settle up to a steady lead here. Lucas Holmes in the number 26 falls in line to second. Nate Newman in third. Gannon Bird fourth. Brian DeBlank dropping a little bit here, back to fifth. And on the low side in the fifth position, you got the 51 there of Kara Shangle. She's had a hard couple of years after winning the first season that she was running in 2023. It's been hard to find victory lane since. Here she is going 3 wide at the bottom there. You got Michael LeBeau and Gannon Bird in the middle. So I think tonight here, this track really is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen when you go to a super speedway. Armory Digital Superspeedway is definitely our Daytona. And you get to basically roll the dice here tonight. Some drivers may actually have an opportunity to better finish here than they would at any other track on the schedule. Because it's kind of, no holds. There's nothing that's holding them back. There's no advantage. There's no speed discrepancy. You just get in the draft and you go. And so it comes down to who is masterful at drafting at these big plate tracks. Since all the cars are kind of throttled back to keep them from, totally trashing the car, getting hurt out there. Having all these cars throttled back allows for this really tight, very close racing where we get 4 wide, 3 wide, and the very rare occasion 5 wide. If you're in a 5 wide scenario, you better look out and pray that you're not going to get dumped. Tasha right to the top spot now, leads this lap. And it is a whole hornet's nest of cars back there. So I do want to clarify with the Sigma Cup Series at these super speedway tracks, if we have a long green flag run, we do have a mandatory competition caution to help stack the field back up. More than likely, it's going to be about a 40-lap run to see that long green flag stint of pit stops. So if they go past lap 40 and we see green flag pit stops, once the last car takes a pit stop, we'll throw the competition caution to get them all stacked back up. We got number 67 there. That is Alex Crowther. Oh, and they're wrecking in the background already. We'll let them get settled down here, and then we'll find a replay on the wreck. It looks like we're going to counter. Okay, yeah, we're under yellow. We'll get back to Alex Crowther in a moment. Let us look and see what brought us under caution here. You got a couple teammates here. You got the 12, that's Carson Bowers, and the 41 of Cooper Dwight. And there's Trevor Walker right in the middle of 5 wide. Wyatt Wilkinson ekes through. Trevor Walker, ooh, and clips Al Bunch, who started dead last here today. Getting in the wreck with him. Al Bunch, Monte Shangle gets into it a little bit. Ooh, hard hit for Monte. They're just spinning there in front of him. He had nowhere to go. He takes out Al Bunch in the mix there. And then hits the 22 pretty hard, there's going to be some substantial damage on the number 16 machine after that contact. See if we can see from the cockpit, and maybe not the cockpit, we'll do the chase cam here and see Al Bunch's view of the wreck. They're 3 wide in the middle of 5 wide. It's just very, very split-second decisions sometimes, and it's hard to gauge where to go. And once you're on that bottom side and the car ahead of you is spinning down the track in front of you, it's just a tough move to make. Well, the biggest fields that we often have here in the Sigma Cup is 46 cars, and tonight, one of those rare occasions where we get a 46 car field. It was the last minute decision by track officials to accept the 46 cars or roll with the 43 that we had originally ruled in through the sprint qualifier. But coming into today, decided that it would be more exciting to have the extra 3 cars on track, and it's definitely living up so far to that hype, as we've had a lot of 3, 4, and then even 5 wide battles on the racetrack here. So at the moment, Shangle leads the race. James Fireball Roberts in second. That is a Cording Brothers Motorsports Chevrolet. Actually, it's 2026. That is a Cadillac. Tom Cording and Tim Cording decided that they were going to try to up the game this year and start focusing on the luxury brand. When Genesis came into the Sigma Cup Series and they had Hyundai in Bridge to Cup, he kind of saw that idea and followed through with it for this year, giving their Bridge to Cup program will stay Chevy, but their Cup Series, which in a way is the more prestigious step on the ladder, gets the luxury brand Cadillac. So big, bold move for sure. Definitely a kind of a change of program, but it seems like so far running second and third there with Tasha in the number 90 and James Fireball Robert in the number 95. Might be paying off early here. Next in line, a surprise driver that really has taken the field by storm, Lucas Holmes, who really kind of went as a relative unknown climbing the ladder, had not developed a whole lot of wins, but all of a sudden started to get that opportunity here in the Cup Series and has put together a couple wins in his career here. Keep an eye out on Lucas Holmes this year. He could be a contender in the title hunt. Ryan White, the number 76, this is an exclusive opportunity for him. Jacob Shangle Racing had opened up an extra couple seats, just like the Roar, Project Roar program last year with Toyota, which, if you're not familiar with Project Roar, that was Rookie on a Rampage. It was a program to try and bring in the new talent for the Sigma Racing Series. Well, JSR decided that they wanted to try and try to focus on that kind of development for the series as well. And here we have the Genesis number 76. His the teammate in that program is the 52 of Ryan Little. So you got the Ryan and Ryan project going on. Ryan White gets into the show here tonight and looking stout so far. Kevin Xavier in the 14. Neat story on him. His team owner for LFG Motorsports, Ewan Army, decided to step down as a chartered driver so that Kevin Xavier could get chartered full-time for this season. That means he's guaranteed to start all 42 races, will not have to qualify through the sprint qualifiers to make the show like he was doing last year, and he struggled to get through those qualifiers pretty badly. So a guarantee here to start every race is going to be huge in the growth of this young rookie sensation. Well, back in racing here after that brief caution period. So far, 1 caution here tonight, and we're rolling around on lap 8. One of the fun things about this track is the cautions do tend to spread themselves out, which makes it feel like a far more realistic race than most of the NR2003 races that we host. So the fact of the matter that we were able to go about 5 laps before the first caution shows you just how exciting this race could be here tonight. The first race of last year, we didn't even see a caution until about 15 laps ago. It was amazing and very unpredictable, unprecedented. We'd never seen the race go caution-free for that long. But of course, I mean caution-free by not having actual wrecks. We did do the competition cautions to help stack things back up and whatnot. It's just kind of wild, you know. We might be in for something like that again tonight. So now the focus kind of sets towards keeping an eye on the damaged vehicles. There's a damaged vehicle policy, and if you're not meeting at least a adequate race pace here tonight, unfortunately you will have to serve the disqualification for the evening. Now we're pretty strict on that rule in the early running to try and keep the cars from causing more pileups. Once you get lap traffic out there causing pileups, it just turns into a nightmare and a wreck fest. We'll have to do our best here, keeping an eye on the deficit, which I'll have this screen up here for our reference point. You can see Monte Shangle, the number 16, is 10.59 seconds. Current fast laps are running at about a 48.6. So if he gets to 30 seconds off the pace, unfortunately, we will have to keep him here for this evening. Meanwhile, don't take your focus off the racing action here on track. Looks like Tyler Shangle trying to jump to the top spot. One of the winningest drivers in Sigma Cup history. Tyler Shangle has 36 wins. This is his first time driving in a Ford, bringing the blue oval up to the front of the field here. Very unique circumstances. Obviously, the Greg Biffle tribute season here for Monte Shangle Motorsports. Sad to see that the number 16 had a rough start here tonight, but a couple others in the family are running up front. Having a good run here is Tyler. How about that? You got the 64 car of Sebastian Torres climbing through the field. He was part of the Sigma Gong Show we put together to try and figure out a new driver to fit the empty seat, the empty chartered ride left behind by Jacob Shangle. And so that is a tested winner, that 64 machine. Jacob Shangle has taken it to 34 wins throughout his career, so Sebastian Torres definitely getting an exciting opportunity here in the 64. Of the other Gong Show entries, you do have the number 21 of Chad Hertenstein. He's taken over the departed position that Kara left behind. She jumped into the number 51 unchartered ride, having to qualify for every race this season. So Chad, with a charter, is guaranteed to start all year. He's having a good showing here so far, moving up into the top 10 for the first time here tonight. And the other driver that was part of the Gong Show, number 77 of Preston Kudo. Don't see him up in the top half of the field. Actually, he's one of the last cars in the running order as we skip ahead. Monty way off the pace, Trevor Walker off the pace, Finley Herwig off the pace, and Al Bunch. That is like a deadly group of drivers to be slow here tonight. Monte Shangle, the 2012 champion of the Sigma Cup Series. Trevor Walker has secured various in the double digits of truck wins. I want to say it's about 13 to 14 truck wins for him, so he's having a rough night. Finley Herwig was so close to winning the ARCA championship last year. And Al Bunch, your 2024 champion. Couldn't be a more wild four-pack of drivers that are slow on field here. Chris Harvey taking the opportunity this year to dust off a car number that has some history in the series. Atlee Weiss, your 2023 Sigma Cup champion, took this 19 number, not necessarily this machine, to championship in his rookie season. So not only did he win Rookie of the Year, he also won the championship in 2023. And then after 2024, Atlee Weiss decided to retire after having an 8-win career, 1 championship, and coming close in his final season with a good top 5 points position finish. Chris Harvey looking to try and revive that number 19 power here with LFG Motorsports Honda. The Hondas have definitely been kind of fallen on the slow side over the years, but I have a feeling that this year we could start seeing the Hondas start to wake up. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to DQ Monte Shangle here tonight, not meeting adequate race pace. The next in line, once he falls below 35 seconds, Trevor Walker's going to be eliminated. And that all has to do with the damage from the wreck. So they just, unfortunately, took too much damage early on in this one to actually have a competitive car capable of winning the race. Brandon Butler II, this is his first ever career start in the Sigma Cup Series, and here he is moving on up to second. Chaz Chadwick on the outside there. Tyler Aspinall in the middle. Taden Berggren, the 43 car. Taden Berggren still winless in the Sigma Cup Series, but he's definitely had the speed. He's had the consistency. He just hasn't been able to seal the deal quite yet. So now we're going to go ahead and DQ Trevor Walker, who also falls below the 30-second bracket. Still not sure how Finley Herwig got the damage that he did. Might have to look back at replays after this race to see. But his pace is far off, and he's about to be the next one disqualified. It's a Chevy freight train at the front of the field. Dave Steele Jr. and Brandon Butler II. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to send you home. So the 3 extra cars, we are now down 3 cars here tonight, retired out of the event. Al Bunch is hanging on by a thread. Al Bunch is gonna have to hope that maybe they can get some repairs done in the next pit stops and get back into this thing. But regardless, we still have 42 cars in the field, which is a lot. I mean, 42 cars this close together, they're all within 2.5 seconds of each other. That's a recipe for disaster. Tyler Aspinall to the top spot. And there is our other Sigma Gong Show participant, number 77 of Preston Kundo. Sebastian Kundo filling in for Tyler Shangle's absence from that chartered ride. As we already mentioned, Tyler Shangle has been able to take it to victory. The number 77 itself 36 times over the 16 years of Sigma racing. Currently, fastest lap here tonight belongs to the number 60 of Jacob Shangle. Chad's hanging in there pretty stout. He's now on the inside looking to try and maybe lead a lap early in this one. But yeah, like I mentioned, there's 5 drivers here tonight making their first ever career start in any form of Sigma Cup. Brandon Butler II, who has had some truck success, some ARCA racing experience, makes his first ever Cup start here tonight. Alex Crowther, your defending Bridge to Cup champion, earning this spot because of his championship in 2025, making his first ever start. Chad Hertenstein, who looks like he might be on his way to leading his first ever career lap. It's going to be a drag race here at the line. The 21's going to hold off the 1. Chad Hertenstein gets his first career lap led here tonight. The other 2 drivers, of course, the rest of the Gong Show entrants, Sebastian Torres and Preston Caputo. So with those 5 noted, obviously that means they have never won in the Sigma Cup Series. But we'll dig a little deeper. There are plenty of drivers, 18 to be specific, that have yet to actually break through and win in the Sigma Cup Series. Of course, part of those 18 are the 5 I just mentioned. So subtract that, you get 13. 13 drivers that have not yet won in the Cup Series include the likes of Chris Harvey, for one. Cooper Dwight, which is an amazing one because Cooper Dwight's won in Bridge to Cup numerous times. He made the jump up here, and it hasn't really clicked quite yet. Eli Wolf has been close, and yet again here tonight, Eli Wolf right there in 3rd. Now trying to fight for the lead. Finley Herwig, unfortunately not going to win here tonight because he's already retired. Gannon Bird, Jimmy Logano, Jonah Burridge, Kevin Xavier, Lynn Farrell, Nate Newman, who's leading the race right now, Rich Roy, Trevor Walker, whom is retired, and Wyatt Wilkinson looking for that first curve win. Wyatt Wilkinson in the mix as well right there in about the top 10 position. Here comes Jimmy Logano moving through the field. New number there for Tristan Reeves, the number 15 Honda Accord. He was running the number 51 Bucked Up Energy Honda last year for Reeves Motorsports, and here he is into the top 5. Brian DeBlanc hanging around. That seems to be his MO. He's very good at hanging around up front, but the mistakes are often the one thing that bites him the worst. So Brian DeBlanc's approach to this season might be a little different. Maybe try to keep it a little cooler, calculated, and avoid making those mistakes. Funny part is how the favorite coming into tonight to win the race was Al Bunch, and unfortunately we are going to have to disqualify him now as he is not meeting minimum race pace. Al Bunch is going home. The favorite to win this race, he was qualified 46th. He's only able to pick up about 3 spots and finishing 43rd here tonight. So with that favorite out the window, kind of the top favorite here tonight is Kellen Relic, based on his previous experience at this race. 2024 race winner here at Armory. Ewan What Army, the other favorite right there alongside of him. What Army won the race last year. So the 2 winners in the field here tonight, obviously still very much alive. Here you got your pole sitter back to the front. That is Michael LeBeau. Yeah, for Al Bunch, starting this deep in the field, this far back in the points after the first race is going to be disheartening. But that's the thing, it's only race 1 of 42, so there's a lot of racing still to be done. Plenty of time to claw his way back out of the dumps. But what I'm impressed with here tonight is the potential for a new winner. We're already 30 minutes into the race, 26 laps down, 128 to go. And the new faces are kind of moved up to the front and proven that they've got a point to make here tonight. New race winners are very high potential on the line. Loving all the Biffle tributes out there. The Shangle family definitely stepping up to run 5 very unique paint schemes this year, paying great tributes to his career in the NASCAR series. Right now, everyone is within about 1.5 seconds from first to last place. That couldn't get much tighter than that. But the one trend we're starting to see now is that the 44 from pole position fell back for a while, and he's been able to bounce back to the top. At any point in the super speedway races, you kind of have to start looking at the fuel gauge, especially in an endurance length race such as this one with 400 miles. It's going to be the hard part, is coming in together and leaving together. And with NR2003, that is almost impossible in super speedways. So that's where our little competition caution comes into handy, comes into play, giving us at least a chance to stack things back up and keep the racing exciting and interesting. The middle of the field here looking very, very toxic at the moment. A wreck waiting to happen. Hair is glued to the 43 of Berggren. This tradition that we started here at Armory Digital Speedway is only about 3 years old at this point. We've only had, since 2023, the season opener being here at Armory Digital Superspeedway. And the stats before 2023 didn't really exist here at Armory. Was a perfect fit for the Washington-based racing series, Sigma Cup, to host the season opener in Seattle. So everything kind of came together and it felt like a perfect match. Well, how about that in the season opener in 2023 here? One of your Washington natives taking home the first win in the first ever season opener race here at Armory Digital, being Kellen Relic. Since then, it has not panned out for the other drivers who have not been able to take the victories as they've come along. Oh wait, my bad, 2023 was John Roman, and then Kellen Relic won it in 2024. Either way, John Roman also a Washington native, so the Washingtonians have 2 for 3 in the last 3 years. The one outlier being Ewan Woodarmy, who's half Brit, half American. I might have that mixed up. Ewan Woodarmy's from California, and his team owner, Chaz Chadwick, is half Brit, half American. Corrected. Yes, yep, that's correct, yeah. Cool. So, either way, for the most part, Washingtonians have taken the win here at Armory Digital. So you gotta imagine that the pressure is a little bit higher for them to perform tonight. Good cast of them. I mean, they've kind of got the majority of the field here tonight, about 25%, I would wager, running from the Washington/Pacific Northwest region. Liz Shangle in the number 50 took the top spot there briefly. Now Rich Roy taking over the lead. Have the 41, that is Cooper Dwight, making a move in a very specially unique design. Paint scheme there, new scheme for 2026. It's going to be hard to miss that one. Very, very unique. It's just unfortunate that we don't have the Chocolate Wars with him bringing on Milka Chocolate. Chaz Chadwick used to have the other purple chocolate, whose name is escaping me at the moment. Cadbury, that's what it was, Cadbury chocolate. But he went with SpaceX as the primary sponsor this year. As you can see, another purple car there, the number 18 of Chaz Chadwick. So he went from kind of a purple chocolate car to a purple space program, number 18. Another interesting, I mean, it's way too early to be talking about the end of the season, since the season is just now getting started here for 2026. But every one of these drivers are out here fighting to maintain a charter. So if you finish top 32 in the points, you will earn yourself a charter for the following season. Simple as that. We kind of took the guesswork out of it and made it so the drivers all have to earn their keepsake here. So in a way, the drivers are all playing for keeps, and the keeps is earning a chartered ride that keeps you in the field every week, starting without having to go through a sprint qualifier. The very daunting, very frightening sprint qualifiers that have humbled even the best of racers. You think about it, it's a short race, so if you're really good, you should be able to make it. But the 12th man in Racecars is often, you know, mechanical failures or wrecks, something that is out of your control. And we saw it last year with Dalton Scott. He had to go through the sprint qualifier every week. And the problem of the matter is there are a couple of races where he ended up getting like a flat tire, getting in a wreck, or having some form of mechanical failure, and he would be forced to miss a race. But yet he still came on to win the championship at the end of the year just because he was that stout. So some folks are even suggesting that the sprint qualifiers have an unfair advantage. As you can think about it, they get more track time, more experience, and because of that, they're more prone to winning and taking home the victories. That's where you and What Army decided to sign up for that special situation this year, going unchartered to give his teammate a full charter. We'll see if it pays off again this year for someone to win the championship as an unchartered driver. Number 90 there, that is Tasha Wright in the Dr. Pepper McDonald's Cadillac there. She really went off on a tear last year, winning a good stint. She had a 2-race win streak, winning a couple races, and proving that she is a very, very tough force to be dealt with. I'm starting to feel like we'll see more of the same from Tasha out of this season. We got pit stops already. That is the 42 leading this group of takers down pit road. Brandon Butler, Kellen Relic, Wyatt Wilkinson, and Lewis Trost. So it's just a matter of time once we get all of our pit takers. The Sigma competition caution will wave. Still only one caution here tonight. Chad Hertenstein back to the lead here, and looks like majority of the field now pitting. Couples still staying out though. Adam Starr and James Fireball Robert continue to stay out, but we're under caution. We have our second caution on track, and this is going to be a nightmare for race control. We're going to have to get everyone sorted back out. Like the 45. Brief pause here, folks, while I pull up the replay data. Whoa, okay, all right. So fair warning, this is a very violent wreck here, and it seems like maybe just a miscalculation on those that are pitting, and maybe Tyler Aspinall trying to stay out. But that's a Honda on Honda crime there, as the 45 Honda of Aspinall runs into the 14 of Kevin Xavier. Tough break to bring out the first caution here, well, second caution here tonight. We might have to add a pace lap or so to get things kind of figured out here. Even the pace car is kind of out alone up front without anyone behind him, so almost everyone had pitted though. So the crazy part is it's going to be, I think, maybe a couple drivers that need the wave around. We'll find out here briefly. Hopefully we don't get the shenanigans like we did at the Sigma 600 from Daytona last year. That one was wild by any stretch of the imagination. We had drivers running out of fuel on the last lap, and instead of completing the last lap on the racetrack, they pulled down pit road and retired on pit road, crossing the start-finish line for the win. That was deemed partly illegal. The race win was not taken away, but they were docked points. Brian DeBlanc especially was one of the two drivers that stayed out. James Fireball Robert won that race, and the race was not stripped from him, but points were taken away, and that definitely changed the and the trajectory of a couple drivers' seasons there, just based off of the miscalculation on fuel. So looks like Chad Hertenstein's going to maintain the lead here after that that second caution. The first round of green flag pit stops went bad. We've got some problems on pit road, it looks like. 90 of Tasha gets stuck there. Oh man. Well, NR2003 has never been very perfect. I think it was because of the 45 that it kind of upset their entry to pit road. As you can see, the 45, man, instead of he just kind of caused more problems there at the end. Gets on the racetrack, kind of blocking the line. Wow, okay. Oh, a suffered failed piston for the 42 of Brandon Butler claims him here tonight. That's a tough break. Yet 42 is looking stout, was able to move through the field, drop to the back, and come back up to the front. But where's the damage come from? Oh, wow, just kind of blown up right there on the spot. No contact. End of the day, piston failure. Okay, so now time for wave around. Wish the pace car go a little bit quicker so that we could actually see just how many people are on the lead lap and not. Kind of hard to gauge right now. The 77 and the 90 look to be one lap down. The 45 of Tyler Aspinall, who might be out of the race. I think everyone's on the lead lap, amazingly enough. So kind of a intermission here at about the quarter mark. Another mechanical failure maybe. So 69 drops to the apron here. Brake failure, wow. Well, at a super speedway you almost don't need the brakes, but there you have it. 69 is going to have to come down pit road and get some adjustments made. Yeah, so 3 cars get the wave around here. That caution kind of fell at the perfect time to give everyone back their lead lap spot here tonight. Right there, the number 6, that is Jonah Burridge driving for Railfan Motorsports. It's going to be an interesting year where that seat will swap drivers throughout the season between 3 different drivers, getting an opportunity to prove themselves on the top level of Sigma Racing. Go ahead and enable our green-white checkers here to make sure that we've got all the things, all our check marks. We do not want a race ending under caution. The lights are off on the pace car. They'll get doubled up on the backstretch and get back rolling here tonight. Chad Hertenstein and Jonah Burridge will lead them to the restart. James Fireball Robert in third, Kerry Shangle in fourth. Standout rookie sensation from last year, Bradley Ream, looking to try and up the game this year. He had a stellar performance and just came up short in the championship hunt. Coming home, I think, overall 4th or 5th in the points last year. You definitely cannot win the championship tonight on race number 1. And you know what? I hate that adage where they say you can definitely lose the championship. No, honestly, you can't. Tonight, 1 of 42 races. It is a long season. Really, this one race might not be much of anything in the grand scope of things at the end of the season. So it definitely stings. You want to get out there, get the jitters broke loose, the season opener, and go out there and prove that you've got winning speed. And even a few of the drivers that got knocked out here tonight, I feel like they probably had capabilities and possibilities with speed and potential, but just bad luck struck them. We get back rolling here tonight. So as I mentioned earlier, likely favorites, definitive favorites in the race here tonight would be Kellen Relic and Ewan Wood-Army as both past winners of this race. Some other drivers to keep your eyes out on that have been strong in the last couple of years and have some decent experience at this super speedway in particular. Braden Varga, who had plenty of wins racked up last year and came home second in the title. Brian DeBlanc came home third in the title last year and has had some real stout runs here at Armory, just with the mix-in of some bad luck here and there as well. And then Tyler Landa, an amazing oddity. He's had 2 starts here, and both of those were a top 10 finish. So Tyler Landa has kind of a streak brewing here. If he can keep that streak alive and go 3 for 3 with top 10s, keep an eye out for the number 23 of Tyler Landa. Tristan Reams and Daniel Pauls Jr. are definitely kind of the wild card drivers. For whatever reason, Daniel Paulus always has a great run in super speedways like this. Last season, if we pull up his statistics, this is a very telling tale of his abilities at these kind of tracks. So for 2025 Sigma Cup, have skipped all the way to the bottom to find his points tally. We're gonna have to keep that tracker up again to see if we have drivers too far off the pace. So the 99 of Daniel Paulus Jr. The only races that he made last year, all 4, well, 3 of the 4 actually, were all super speedway races. He made this race last year at Armory through the sprint qualifier. He made Daytona. He made a whole super speedway, and then for whatever reason he was able to qualify at Gateway International Raceway, which is a short track. But all of his finishes were sub top 15. So he had an 18th, a 17th, a 29th, and a 39th. But you got to give him credit that he's able to show up at these races and do really well. Okay, this is weird. I don't know if they decided to pit. I don't think this is going to be a merit for disqualification quite yet, because they've actually merged in with the traffic all right. Michael LeBeau will avoid the DQ hammer here tonight as he's staying in a very comfortable bubble with the leaders. Chris Harvey on the move. He's made it up into 6th here. Yeah, I think we'll just let it roll. It doesn't look like they're holding up the lead traffic, so forget about the DQ train for a while. They must have made a strategy call to pit on that start of the race, start of the restart there. This one might be the only one of concern after getting damaged on the last caution, so keep an eye on the 45's lap times. Ultimately. Nate Newman jumps to the top spot here. He has a couple lap cars in the mix, keeping it interesting, keeping a buffer between him and the other lead lap cars. Number 12 gets disqualified. What did the number 12 do? Carson Bowers disqualified from the race. That on there. I don't think we could have seen what the DQ was for. Well, the officials working extra hard here tonight, evidently, because that number 12 unfortunately gets disqualified, running in 27th. Disqualify the 45. He is not even merging with the lap traffic very well. Here we have the number 1 of Ewan Wood Army to the top spot now. He had a newfound opportunity to get in this race. Yeah, there's a second caution, but it was a kind of a strange one with pit stops under green flag conditions. So that caution kind of came when they were making green flag pit stops, and Tyler Aspinall ran into the back of Kevin Xavier, causing that second caution. But since then, back to green, and some more drivers just holding up the traffic here. Decided to make some unique strategy calls to pit after the restart. Now you got the number 30. That is Tom Cording leading the way right now. Carson Bowers getting knocked out is definitely another stout contender that had a shot here tonight to get the win. Crowther, if I'm not mistaken, in the mix. Yeah, he is moving up into the lead here. Crowther trying to save face for the boss after Aspinall had a mistake here tonight and gets retired. So Crowther moves to the top, taking the lead. Is he going to be able to lead the lap, or is Kellen Relic going to come knocking? See, tonight is truly one of those nights where a winless driver could break through. The table is kind of, you know, staggered here to allow for surprise winners and give us some exciting first-time winners, maybe even one-time winners that never win again. Kind of like your Trevor Bayne experience, or Harrison Burton in recent years, all of which came at Daytona in real life. The super speedways, forget about skill sets, forget about who has the strongest manufacturer, who has the fastest car. None of that matters when you come racing at a super speedway. And the true winless drivers, we had already mentioned 18 drivers in the field here tonight that do have 0 wins to their name. Now's your chance. The opportunity is ripe for the picking. And we're already 56 laps in, 98 laps to go. If you want to get the win, you got to go up there and grab it. The only thing holding you back is the throttle pedal that your foot is glued to right now, and if you're not pushing it all the way to the bottom. Wyatt Wilkinson is a leader now. He led the lap. I want to believe that may be his first career lap led in the Sigma Cup Series. Looking back at last season, no, he had some good races for Project Roar last year. Wyatt Wilkinson definitely led some laps. Yeah, laps led 3, 9, 1, 12, 1, and 1. So he's definitely in the double-digit category for laps led. But he's adding to that here tonight. Nate Newman in the number 20. Here he is taking the lead away. Nate Newman failed to maintain a chartered ride this year after having a dismal finish of the year last year. Things started off rough, progressively stayed rough and got a little bit better towards the midpoint of the season. A few good finishes during the summer, but it really never did stick as he continued to have a lot of bad finishes. Had some shining moments late in the year, 4th at Kansas, 4th at Ricky Raceway, and a 3rd at Kansas last year, and then 8th at Gateway. He was chartered last year, but unfortunately this year without the charter, he's having to qualify his way into all these races. But he's making the most of it here tonight, took the lead for a while, and now you've got the 51 of Terry Shangle jumping to the top. Michael, the misguided missile, going a lap down here. One of the reasons why we call him that. He has the potential to be very fast, but also very destructive. And so your pole setter here tonight having a bit of a rough spell through the first quarter of the race now, and he's gone a lap down. Pretty wide at the start finish line. That's going to put Kara to the lead, and the number 59 of Gannon Bird sits in second. Jacob Shangle a lap down at the moment. Gets his lap back briefly. He would need a caution to maintain the lead lap position. Tom Cording showing some muscle here as well. So the fuel window is a little bit smaller here than I realized. I thought 60 laps, but we're actually sitting at about 40 laps. This track is about a 2.67 mile super speedway, so that definitely factors in. No, my bad, 2.6. It's a little bit bigger than Daytona, a little bit shorter than Talladega. And the length of the track definitely factors into burning more fuel here tonight. We have not had to throw a competition caution yet, as the cautions have fallen pretty close to standard with the green flag pit stops. Yet again, like last year. Oh, and I was just jinxing it. I was going to say how we haven't had very many wrecks here. And another wreck breaks out right there. That will be non-caution, a non-call for a caution. How Sigma Cup Racing is that? So while it's under green still, let's go ahead and just look at the replay. Everyone stays, oh wow, everyone stays in the forward position. Carrot gets the worst of that. And no one actually truly wrecks. Gannon Bird, hard hit. 27 of Adam Starr. Looks to be the least damaged in that ordeal. Just 3 wide mistake there. So yeah, no caution. I didn't fully jinx it, but I was going to say this race very much running very, very fast in the green paces. Running quickly here tonight through the laps. That kind of spreads the field out a little bit. Chad Hertenstein really putting on a show, leading a bunch of laps here tonight in his first ever Sigma Cup start. That Makita Shangle Toyota Racing Toyota Supra. They've got it souped up here tonight, and he is proven to be a threat. Look at that, the 23 of Tyler Landa. What was I saying? He's gotten 2 top 10s in his first 2 starts here. Could this be one of those tracks that, you know, a driver has more experience or more, you know, capabilities of getting the job done? Certain horses for certain courses, and definitely Tyler Landa seems to get this one figured out each year. Jimmy Logano in the mix. I'm liking what we're seeing here. Some very intriguing storylines starting to unfold. Chaz Chadwick, a Bridge to Cup, no wait, a truck champion. Ewan What Army was the Bridge to Cup champion. Chaz Chadwick won the truck championship on one occasion. And Alex Crowther, your British Cup defending champ, number 67. Tom Cording, him and his brother Tim Cording had dominated the Truck Series on a couple occasions. I can never remember if Tim Cording or Tom Cording took over the overall championship. There was one season where both of them won the regular season championship on the East and the West. So a non-caution, a wreck that happened that kind of spread the field out here, and some very, very unique strategies throughout the field as drivers are trapped a lap down right now, some on the lead lap leading the way, and lap cars actually ahead of them, mingling amongst the leaders. So yeah, so far folks, it's been a stellar start to the 2026 campaign. We had the Sigma ARCA Series open up on Tuesday. We had the Truck Championship redo on Monday, the one that didn't get ran during 2025. Wednesday, we had the Sprint Qualifier for this event here tonight. And of course, your Cup Series racing and roaring around Armory here tonight. 400 miles the distance. Hopefully, your new home on Thursdays, trying to tune in and catch these Sigma Cup races. I know there's a lot of drivers down in the lower levels that are looking forward to moving up the ladder to eventually make their debut in the series someday. That's kind of how it's grown to be what it is now. A lot of these drivers have worked their way through trucks, ARCA, Bridge to Cup. Well, in all those lower series, this race series has been running the whole time in the background for some of those drivers that have not made the big jump up to the big series. And so, yeah, some folks getting their first ever opportunity here tonight, and they're not letting it get away from them. Lots of potential and a lot of great growth to be had here. Wow, 8 people tuned in at one point in a Cup race. I've never had that before either. Usually the Cup races are a little bit harder to sell because so few people are actually in the series. But I guess that's what you get for about 3 years of growth here on YouTube. A lot of these folks that have been with the series through the ladder system are able to tune in and watch now that their cars have moved into the big league. So yeah, there are some folks excited tomorrow for their Truck Series debuts as well. The Trucks West Division, obviously here in Seattle, the season opener, everything is on the West Coast this week. Sigma Trucks USA West is tomorrow, and it should be a good one, 151 miles of distance. We already went 150 plus miles here tonight as we're starting to close in on halfway. We'll be at about halfway here in 5 laps, it looks like, 5 or 6. And that would be your 200-mile mark here tonight. And it's probably going to be sitting at about a 2.5-hour length race here tonight. First taker down pit road, that was Wyatt Wilkinson. Actually kind of slowed up the lead traffic here just a tad. Leading the way, it is Tyler Landa in the number 23. And pause briefly here, folks, as I save a halfway point break. How I don't make some form of mistake and press the reset button or the accelerate button and mess this up. I have not done that yet, knock on wood. All it takes is one mental lapse in judgment and then bam, messed it all up. at the end of tonight's race for posting on the shorts section of YouTube. Our winner will celebrate by doing burnouts for Biff. And so that's going to be a new staple here in 2026. Race winners only in the Cup Series. Going to post a short featuring the driver celebrating in style, doing burnouts for Biff. And, you know, we'll get creative. I'm sure every driver will have their own creative, unique design to celebrate the wins here in the series. So maybe they'll go find a spot outside of the racetrack, go celebrate in the grass, go celebrate on pit road, or go find the victory lane and burn it down on the checkered pattern victory lane celebration podium. Very scattered on the pit stops. A lot of drivers staying out here as you get 1, 2, and maybe a few hitting on each lap here. Thanks again, everyone that has tuned in here tonight. I know it's a long race, a little bit later on the East Coast for some of you. We are being treated to an absolute super speedway race so far. It's pretty much checked all the boxes. A couple wrecks, great racing at the front with swaps for the lead. And here's Tyler Land is still going to stay out another lap here. We'll have to throw the comp caution if we don't get a full course caution here in the next couple laps once everyone hits. I don't know if that's actually correct. Everyone else is a lap down, so unless you had, a valve failure on the 19. Good catch there, Chris. We missed that, so man, you were blown up at the start-finish line, unfortunately. So that's the tough part about these super speedways. These cars are going wide open all night long. It's a lot of revs on the motor. Rev limiter is paying to the top, and there you have it, blowing up, heading to course of the start-finish line there. Tough break for LFG Motorsports. The Hondas seem to be having a little bit of troubles here. And I mean, that's just NR2003. Everything is pretty close and competitive across the field. So the fact that Hondas having struggles, that just shows you that, you know, the inner workings of Honda definitely have some things to iron out this year. I think that marks everyone having pitted. 71, is he coming off pit road? Okay, he's on pit road. I'm thinking this is kind of what happened last year. Armory actually does not have a bad drafting problem like Daytona and Talladega. So the rule for the competition caution is only if the field is too spread out that we will throw that mandatory comp caution. As you can see, we still have about 15, maybe even 20 cars within the fold here that did not lose the lead draft at all. There are about 5 cars 1 lap down, and those are the drivers that decided to pit and the weird opportunity they took. So we will only throw caution if the field gets too spread out. Right now, we will let them race. Rich Roy rejoins the field here right with the leaders. And this is your new battle up front for the lead. Brian DeBlanc and Cooper Dwight, followed by Taden. Taden actually is a lap down. Liz Shangle, one of the leaders here. Lynn Farrell's a lap down. Chad Hertenstein on the lead lap, fighting for a great finish here tonight. So lap traffic definitely kind of spoiling the party here just a tad. The key cars to keep your eyes on right now, definitely the 85, the 50, and even the Cadillacs coming up to the front of the field here. Chad Hertenstein, the 21s on the lead lap. Cadillacs and Jimmy Logano. How about Wyatt Wilkinson? He's been able to survive and even came down pit road first. Was able to get the advantage of the undercut here today, and he's right there in your lead draft as well. So this here is not a battle for the lead. Those 3 cars right down the middle are actually all a lap down. But here comes James Fireball Robert. He had a couple wins last year. He even is your Sigma All-Star race winner from last year. One of the exhibition races that we run. Very few exhibition races that we actually host. But the All-Star race is usually one of those, you know, timeless events that any sport will put together. And so your 2025 Sigma All-Star, a up-and-coming rookie that has really come on the scene, James Fireball Robert, kind of living down his namesake, flying out there like a fireball. His 3 points-paying wins came at Watkins Glen last year, a road course, Daytona International Speedway, a super speedway, and then at Lakeside Raceway Park, another road course. So that just shows you the diversity of his driver's skill set. He's able to go from a super speedway like this and play the drafting game perfectly. Although it was only 1 win, still very notable. And also a road course ringer in his own right. And not sure what lore or background he has to add up to that expertise, but when you have a road course ringer, you've got a very, very special individual. If you win on the road courses, you can win just about anywhere. Left, right, uphill, downhill. Moose Lake Motorplex, where he won the All-Star race, kind of felt like a road course for some folks. The hill climb on Steel Hill and the rest of the track just kind of races different than a very typical oval would. They're catching up to some more lap traffic here. 4x4, they roll through turn 4. So for sure, this has turned into a long green flag run type of race. The cautions are scarce and far between, meaning the strategies are very key here tonight, and few drivers actually made a mistake deciding to pit when they did. The one thing that's uncertain for a lot of the drivers is whether or not that Sigma competition caution will actually factor in here tonight. But until then, all they got to do is just race for what they've got and try to win with what they have underneath them here. Playing the game with the current strategy that's unfolding for them. And of course, if we do get a late race caution, there's always that what if, you know, cautions breeding cautions here tonight. Last year the race went so clean all the way to the finish, and then we had a wreck with like 3 or 4 laps to go. And it really, it killed some drivers that had the best momentum to win the race. And Ewan Wood Army was able to sneak it out and take home the victory last year. So of your first time starters here tonight, I think most of them are still alive and out there. You've got Chad Hertenstein in the number 21, still alive and still very well in the mix. You have the 64, that is Sebastian Torres, very much alive and in the mix, up to the top 15, top 10 now it looks like. Jonah Burridge in his, actually Burridge has made a couple starts last year, my bad. He is not a first-time starter here tonight. Alex Crowther, though, on the other hand, the 67, a few spots back there. He's 3 of the 5 drivers making their first ever start. First-time starters showing some muscle here tonight, staying in the mix and keeping the gas to the pavement. It's like the worst of the top, those 5 drivers. I don't see... There we go, Preston Kundo, 25th right now, way off the lead draft. He's going to have some work cut out for him to get back into the mix here. And of course, unfortunately for the 42, Brandon Butler out of the race with a mechanical failure that sent him home packing. So 3 out of 5, not bad for the first time starters. Definitely having a good run here. In the mix for first-time wins, we do have quite a few of them at the front here. Eli Wolf is a lap down, actually. But Sebastian Torres in the 64 looking good. Jimmy Logano, man, that would be a special win. He won the season opener last year in Bridgestone Cup right at this very racetrack. So another driver with some knowledge of the course and possibly putting those skills to use today after his success here at the racetrack last year in a lower series. The fact that this race is staying so green for so long, we're already far past halfway. And before you know it, we're going to be in lap 100, down to 54 laps to go, about 13 laps from now. Once you get to lap 100, that's like getting to the top of the hill. After that, everything is very much downhill. And the experience changes. Everyone's kind of running around, kind of at half throttle, just minding their P's and Q's. But once you get to lap 100 here tonight, that's when the gloves come off. That's when you're down to 54 laps. I mean, it's not quite 25 laps, but things start changing. They start seeing what they need to do differently to get to the front. And so, once we get there, everything kind of amplifies, dials up a little harder, a little heavier. A lot of hungry drivers get that first career win. And this in its own is one of the exciting things, you know, that first season opener of the year, first race of the year. You kind of get a feel for who may or may not be contenders this year. And the problem is, with super speedways being such a randomizer, it really does not give us that gauge that we need to figure out who is championship caliber worthy. But when you look at the schedule here in the Sigma Cup Series, let me pull that up real quick and see just how many races are run at a super speedway. So that in its own would kind of be a telling tale as to what we look forward to in the future for 2026. This week and next week, both super speedway races will go do our own Daytona 500 next Friday. And you caught that right, Friday. Thursdays and Fridays are going to be Sigma Cup exclusive. And we always tend to run races on Friday the 13th because I'm superstitious about it. So a few Friday the 13th races this year. Then obviously up next week will be the first of them this year. So we get 2 back-to-back super speedway races. And tonight might be a good gauge for what you can expect next week of your super speedway stars. Already seems to me like the 21 of Chad Hertenstein must have a good package for super speedway racing. Wyatt Wilkinson as well, and maybe even Michael LeBeau if he can stay on the lead lap. He's so reckless that it's hard for him to stay on the lead lap. But after that, the super speedways are kind of spread out through the season. We'll go to 8 Bowl for race number 8. That'll be on Friday the 13th. So 2 super speedway races falling on Friday the 13th this year. That's kind of scary. If you're superstitious, yeah, you might be afraid to run those races because there's probably going to be a big one involved, especially at Daytona and at 8 Bowl. Skimming through the schedule a little bit more, the following one will be April 16th at Talladega for the Dusty Shangle 534. It's a memorial race to Grandpa Dusty. And then Ricky Raceway, one that always thrills. That'll be August 6th. Then Michigan is technically a super speedway, but it's not the plate restrictor plate super speedway, so we'll kind of leave that one out of the mix here. Daytona, we will rejoin at Daytona again late in the year in August for the second running of the Sigma 600. And that seems to be, well, and the Music Fest Grand Prix this year happening at Texas World Superspeedway. So of the randomizer super speedways, we've got Texas World, Daytona twice, Ricky Raceway, Talladega, 8 Bowl, and Armory. So 7 races, 7 out of 42. I mean, tonight is just a small fraction of the full season. But we're seeing right now who might be some of your super speedway stars this year. And we're going to definitely keep the metrics rolling to figure out all the trends, all the stats and what things stand out from week to week, especially with the track types and all of that for 2026. Somewhat of a mild lull in the racing action, still a lot of passing and movement up at the front of the field. They're jockeying for position, just kind of setting themselves up for the next round of green flag pit stops here. tidbit to think about for this year is how last year was one of the more parity-driven seasons that we've had, but in a different manner. There was parity between about 4 or 5 different drivers getting wins, but there's only 13 different winners, and that was the first time since 2010 that we had a number that small. So I think I got my words mixed up a little bit there. Parity is honestly how it's spread, the true spreading of wins, and everyone gets a chance. Everyone has the ability to get a win. Well, last year proved that we've actually gotten to be a bit more on the top-heavy side with driver talent. So the joining of Al Bunch into the series and a couple other stars from last year that really shook the Sigma foundation. We had Braden Varga with 6 wins, Dalton Scott with 9, Al Bunch with 6 wins or so. Braden Varga had 7, my bad. That's the first time you've had 3 drivers with 6 or more wins in one season. That doesn't happen. So is parity kind of a thing of the past? For one thing, these super speedways kind of contribute to more parity. And so the outlier is going to be these super speedway races. When you look back at the calendar, look back at the results. There's always going to be that, that super speedway race winner that no one expected to win. And tonight's going to be no different. We're going to see a race, and we might see a brand new winner. But at the same time, it doesn't mean we're seeing the most dominant driver in the race here tonight. That's when you get into the real racing, tracks that actually require a little bit more skill, a little bit more patience, and overall, ability for these drivers to prove their worth. And so tonight and next week at Daytona, that's not really a good gauge as to where the championship will lie. And it's one of the reasons we don't end the championship on a super speedway, because it's too much random and wild, pretty wild, unpredictable kind of races like this, that you would not want to decide a championship here. Indianapolis is kind of that intermediate between, unpredictable, but also calculated, where you have drivers that really dominate that track because of their skill set. And it doesn't come down to a random crapshoot where anyone and everyone can win the race. Kara rejoins the race line there in a bad position, slowing up the traffic. So it's definitely going to be a long-standing conversation here in 2026 as to if we're ever going to see that parity come back into the Cup Series. Once we get to the real racetracks, I think it'll be easier to tell. Tonight, let us just relish in the fact that we're back racing. Sigma Cup, we're back. We're rolling, leading laps, swapping leaders. Not too many big wrecks yet, but we do have a good formula on track right now with some racing action mixed in with a little bit of carnage and chaos. I do feel like this is probably one of the most fine-tuned super speedways on the calendar. By this time in Daytona or Talladega, we'd be down to like 20 cars left on track. No blown engine for the 99. That's a tough break. Daniel Paulus Jr. just blows up out of nowhere. That's an interesting tidbit here tonight. Last year we did not see very many mechanical failures. We're starting to see way more mechanical failures this year. Sigma cracked down on some regulations, and especially with Jaguar stepping away from the fold. Gas engine mandate is a must, obviously, in the Sigma Cup Series. And when Jaguar decided to go full electric with their program, like we're going to stay green. No caution, even though he stalls on the apron. Man, what a wild night for the flag man, just kind of sitting on his caution flags like they don't exist. But I'm wondering if some of those stringent rule changes have kind of caused a unique situation here where mechanical failures might become more common this year. It's definitely not one of the subjects of a race that you want to factor in every week. It's one of those tough break deals. You know? You've got the team, and the team's got your back. And sometimes they're trying to dial the car in a little bit faster than it should go. And that's where these mechanical failures are often, you know, striking. When a team and a driver, they're trying to get the car to do everything it can and then some. And you're pushing the limitations of what it's capable. But at the same time, you got to keep it within regulations. You got to keep, keep that in mind. Obviously, it's a team sport. Yeah, you want to go fast, you want to win all the races, but you got to be able to finish too. And it's just one of those factors of racing. It's never going to go away. You'll see championships lost over it. You'll see races determined off of it. There was one race a couple years ago that Atlee Weiss was leading the race, blew an engine, Al Bunch drove around and won that race. So it's definitely not one of the more fun topics in motorsports, but it's there. Kind of like the the cousin in the background that constantly annoys you. So 50 laps to go. We saw some more takers down pit road. Looked like Wyatt Wilkinson. Wyatt's one of the early takers down pit road. The restrictor plate here, I think, keeps these cars from getting too far ahead. So you can kind of run around minus the draft for a little while and not lose too much of the lead. Like at Daytona and Talladega, where if the AI decided to pit, they would usually get way spread out and then would have to throw that mandatory competition caution and stack things back up. I'm impressed. We've maintained pretty much average of 7 people tuned in here tonight, so thanks folks for catching the race. Like I've been saying, I have an idea to try and keep things a little bit more fine-tuned this year so that it's not too long, not too drawn out. I'm still up here rambling for 2.5 hours tonight. I'm just glad there's 7 people that are willing to listen to my ramblings here about the race. And this being the season opener, usually one of the longer races. And then next week, Daytona, of course, one of the longer races. But then we get back kind of into the shorter distance, but also endurance distance kind of races. So Phoenix, in a couple weeks' time, you're only looking at 225 laps. So that'll be a pretty quick one. But you're still going to have some pit stops to kind of break it up a little bit. It's not going to be so quick that strategies don't exist, but it'll be quick enough that you're not getting bored by the end of it. So, Portland, I've kind of lobbied and tried to figure out how to make Portland better. That's why it's so early on the schedule this year, is because Portland's just one of those tough road courses that doesn't seem to transition into NR2003 like it does in real life. There's been some exciting IndyCar races there in the last couple of years. The Xfinity Series definitely put on some great shows at Portland, but for whatever reason, NR2003 does not take the cake for racing at Portland International Raceway. Still, it's a track, one of my home tracks, a localer track, not exactly my home track, but closest national racetrack that I have in my backyard. Atlanta, one of the marquee events. Usually 500 miles at Atlanta still fly by pretty quickly. So that one should not be too long, too drawn out. Texas will be a little bit shorter. 351 miles for 234 laps. Papyrus this year is only going to be a 60-lap road course superspeedway. It's one of the more unique tracks that we go to, but it also has a minor design flaw where the cars constantly hit the outside wall. People, another marquee event. So our marquee events, as they're listed, those are some of our longer races that are not classified as a crown jewel. And so anything that's a little bit more than 400 miles in distance, those are our marquee events. Some of the crown jewels, they fall below the 400-mile range or right at 400 for the most part. But yeah, the marquee events are a lot of the staples that have been in the series almost since the inception back in 2010. So those ones are kind of non-negotiable on length. And at least you won't be overburdened with super lengthy races this year. So my computer lost internet. My laptop. That's weird. But my computer's still running, so the stream's still up. That's main thing. There we go. I'm watching alongside, keep up with the comment section, folks, so I have my laptop tuned in, watching. Laps to go. It's going to get down to the nitty-gritty here before long. Not sure if we're going to have to throw the mandatory caution, but things look definitely far spread out. Might be time to execute the competition caution and get some wave rounds implemented here. I'm going to kind of justify the caution call on where their pit strategies lie. That way we're not putting someone in a fuel bind here tonight for the comp caution. So from lap 104 to 71. Distance is 33 laps. So we will throw the comp caution with 30 laps to go. That means everyone should be able to pit, get fresh tires, get full tank of gas. And the only thing that they would have to worry about is overtime here tonight, possibly spoiling the party. But the field just a tad bit too spread out at the moment. We're going to get them stacked back up in back races so we can have a better finish here tonight. Well, Jacob Shangle Racing having a very great output right now. 64 for Sebastian Torres, leading with the rookie behind him, teammate, the 76 of Ryan White. Ryan White, your 2025 Sigma ARCA champion. is a very unique opportunity for him and potentially would be a big boost in his career to get a win this early on. Here you got Liz Shangle. So the modern era has not treated her very well. It's been hard to find victory lane. She has not been able to get to victory lane for quite some time now. But it looks like a brand new Liz here, 2026. That 50 car looks stout. Could we potentially see a return to form for Liz here? The Shangle family has had champions all across the board. Joining the family just a couple years ago, Kara. She has not yet found championship, and she's actually not found a race win past her maiden name. So the first career win was when she was unmarried. And it's crazy how now that joining the Shangle household, they have, you know, she has not found victory yet. Matter of time. 51 still out there running here tonight. Still no more cautions. We're down to 39 laps to go. Laps are clipping by pretty quickly here tonight. No cautions since the first quarter of the race. Everything's gone green all the way through, which makes for some excellent side-by-side racing here all night. Crazy to me, the bottom of the field here tonight. Two champions and a couple other drivers that have championship caliber, you know, to them. Actually, three champions, since Trevor Walker's in the bottom of that list too. A truck champion, two cup champions, a truck champion. Just goes to show you the unpredictability of Armory, as often is the case. You know, once the race starts, you don't know what's going to happen, and usually someone's going to get tangled up in a wreck, not of their doing. So we're still setting the stage here for comp caution with about 30 laps to go. And that'll give race control some time to actually get everyone back on the lead lap. We'll let this race play out the way it should, with everyone having a fighting chance, because NR2003 just likes to mess things up a little bit for us. There's really no reason they should be this spread out. Just got to give the little AI a helping hand once in a while and help them kind of put together a better race. But I'm glad that we have not had to utilize the comp caution most of the night here, as the race has been pristine, clean, and very, very caution light. got one more lap here, and then we will throw the caution. It'll be a quick caution. We'll get the pace car in and out as quickly as we can so we can get this thing rolling. Looks like we're going to have to DQ the 59 here. A very slow car holding up the pace. We haven't had to hit the DQ button all that much here tonight, actually. Only 7 times out of 46 cars. Not too bad. Bradley Ream leading the way here, heading into the likely comp caution break. We have our caution. Sebastian Torres leads into the caution period here. Liz Shangle in second. Lewis Trost in third. Good run for Lewis Trost here tonight. He's proven to be capable of winning, but had a massive struggle of a year last year. So Lewis Trost hoping to turn things around with the in-and-out Chevrolet and look for success again, where he once had the success a couple years ago, winning a couple times. We're gonna let them make their likely final pit stop here. Our third caution here tonight is going to end with about 26 laps to go. Leading the way for the restart here tonight, it's going to be Liz Shangle and Louis Trost, followed by Sebastian Torres, Tom Cording, Chad Hertenstein, Bradley Reen, Ryan White, Jonah Burridge, Wyatt Wilkinson, and Jimmy Logano, your top 10. Cooper Dwight in the Milka, number 41, with Chaz Chadwick in the SpaceX, number 18. Tyler Landa has had 2 top 10s in his first 2 starts here. He's running 13th right now. Can he keep that trend alive and make it 3 top 10s in all 3 career starts at this racetrack? James Fireball Robert, Alex Crowther, your defending Bridge to Cup champion, and the rest of the field as they sit right now, all back on the lead lap here tonight. One more shot at trying to achieve victory. 26 laps to go, and it's going to go by in a sprint here. It's just like our sprint qualifier last night that went by in about a 30-minute blip. Couple drivers looking to get their first career win. Some veterans that have been at it for many years trying to find victory again. And then you got the rookies that proved they had it last year, running up front again, proving it was no hoax. It was not just pure luck. They actually have the ability to run up front for wins here in the Sigma Cup Series. Keep an eye on Wyatt Wilkinson here in the number 39. Wilkinson Motorsports. He won Project Roar last year and earned this charter through his pure grit and determination to win the Project Roar Academy, and was the top rookie of 3 in that project. The winner would get the chartered ride, and basically in the form of their own team. And here he is, owner, driver, fighting for win in his first ever race as an owner driver in the Cup Series. You got the Shangle Brigade on the inside, and none of them are a Shangle driver. It's simply the team name, as you've got Sebastian Torres driving for Jacob Shangle Racing, Chad Hertenstein racing for Shangle Toyota Racing, and the 76 of Ryan White also racing for JSR. Liz Shangle, the number 50 National Guard. Here comes Tyler Landa up to 5th now, proving that he's got something for this track that no one else has. Top 10s in each of his first 2 starts. He's even knocking on the door of a top 5 right now. Chad Hertenstein leads the way over Ryan White as the ebb and flow is going to come to a head here eventually. They're going to have to figure out the right spot to be at the right time to win this race. top spot now is the number 60 of Jacob Shangle with the Greg Biffle tribute scheme. We've got 5 of them out there. The number 16 knocked out early, but we still have the 50 of Liz Shangle, the 51 of Kara, and the 7 of Tyler still running out there with the tribute Biffle schemes. How fitting that last night Ryan Preece won in the number 60 car in NASCAR. I mean, that in its own is kind of an eerie coincidence. The number 60 car synonymous with Biffle because of his Busch championship back in the 2000s. Didn't run it in Cup, as when he got to Cup, he took over the number 16 car. I believe it was probably a personal number decision that he wanted to drive the number 16. Look at that, Tyler Shangle now top of the board. It's going to be a brother battle at the end of this one, as the 2 Shangles duking it out up the front of the field with 20 laps to go. Tyler Landa now back on the low side. He's going to get up to second. Jacob stuck way up high. You and What Army in the middle. Tyler in the middle. We got 2 Tylers on the low side. You and What Army and Jacob on the high side. Tristan Reams waking up here as well. That number 15 bucked up energy Honda for Reams Motorsports moving through the field here. Everyone's still very calm, avoiding the big one here tonight. We've seen a couple small wrecks, but none of the big multi-car wrecks here tonight. From a race controls perspective here tonight, I am pretty amazed that things have gone as smoothly as they have. I haven't had too many hiccups and troubles with the officiating here. One of the things with the NR2003 series is sometimes you just can't fix it. It's always going to have those gremlins that you can't explain. We saw it in the ARCA race here, the season opener, where everyone started pitting with 3 laps to go. It made absolutely no sense, but just one of those things. You just can't control it. The game is going to do what it's going to do, and tonight, couldn't ask for more. As you've got about 30 cars here within range of winning this thing. Quite specifically, 33 cars. Almost all the way through the race here tonight, we still have 33 cars within 2 seconds of each other. That in its own is super impressive. For the folks staying tuned on one of the longer races of the season, much appreciated. How fitting to have a super race at a super speedway on Super Bowl week. Obviously, after the Super Bowl, that's when NASCAR, the real series, real season of NASCAR starts. It'll kind of be that supplement for your racing fix during the weekdays. When there's no NASCAR on TV, you can always count on the Sigma Racing Series to have something going. laps to go. Some drivers starting to falter a little bit. Another couple that are jumping to the front. Impressively enough, the ones that are staying up front are kind of staying up front here. So waiting to make that move. It's all about playing the game of chess here. You know, you want to get to the low side as much as possible, but you don't want to get there too soon. You kind of want to save your opportunity to get to the low side within about 5 laps to go. That way you can feel comfortable and confident that you get to the front and you can stay up front. Like right now, you got the 94. That is Eli Wolf leading, seeking his first career win. But he's got a bunch of drivers behind him who are already proven winners in Sigma Cup. One, however, not proven in victory. That is the 67 of Alex Crowther. And he's been having a stellar night here tonight. That 67 machine looks really good. Bridge to Cup Championship. You know, honestly, we've seen that where the Bridge to Cup champion comes out the next year and does really good in Cup. Mark it down to every year so far. You know, What Army won the championship in 2022, comes out and finishes second to Atlee Weiss in 2023. 2023 Bridge to Cup champion Al Bunch moves on to Cup in 2024 full-time, wins the championship in 2024. And so it happened again last year when Bradley Ream won the championship in 2024, moved on to Cup full-time, and man, he won a couple races and was within the top 5 of the points pretty much all year. Faltered at the end, had some rookie mistakes that really kicked him in the butt, and ended up falling outside the top 5 in points to finish the season. So I guess you can start kind of putting together the Bridge to Cup effect, which is exactly as I explained it there. Drivers that graduate out of Bridge to Cup seem to be more successful in their rookie campaign. Here we have Alex Crowther now leading the race, your defending Bridge to Cup champion. Tyler Landa right there behind him. 13 laps to go. 4 wide in the midst there. Did Crowther make his move too soon? A couple other drivers that are staying up high, they're waiting to try and get all the way to the back so they can drop down low. Here goes Luis Rodriguez to the lead. Chad Hertenstein back in the move up front, and 4 wide for the lead. They're getting a little bit close for comfort there. As long as they're not 5 wide, they should be safe. Luis Rodriguez is going to lead for now. Hopefully this doesn't cause a huge pile up at the front. Have to find an opening down to the bottom since he had the disqualification handed to him here. He parts the seas, and the gap just a little bit there between the two groups of cars. That is probably the cleanest disqualification that we could have handed out there. 11 laps to go. They're not too far off the lead draft. They could still get back into this. But if they don't, you got 15 cars still in the mix. Sebastian Torres in his first career start. LFG Motorsports has a couple cars in the mix here with Chaz Chadwick and Ewan Army. Tom Cording in the number 30. That's KBM, Cording Brothers Motorsports. Tyler Landa, still a top 10 on the horizon for him. Tasha Wright, Tristan Reams, Rich Roy, Kellen Relic. He's won here before, just like the guy on his inside, Ewan Army. Pair of proven winners here at Armory. Look at that, it's Chad Hertenstein leading the way with 9 laps to go. 4 wide right behind him. And that's going to help him a little bit. The more they race for position behind, the easier it is going to be for him to defend the lead here. Might lose the lead to Ewan Army here for a little bit, but looks like he's going to be able to get to the inside line as soon as he gets past even. Top 15 is the lead draft group here, but a couple more drivers joining the fold. Brian DeBlanc, Eli Wolf, and Luis Rodriguez. They've caught back up to the lead draft. Louis Strauss, Taden Bergeron, Jimmy Logano, Liz Shangle, Cooper Dwight, and Wyatt Wilkinson. They're actually turning some of their fastest laps right now in the toe of the draft. Tom Cording's gone to victory lane before in the Sigma Cup, but this one would be special. First time with the Cadillac. Change of car number, he's now in the number 30 after they had kept the 50 in this series for such a long time. The Biffle tribute schemes kind of forced him to change his car number a little bit. And the departure of Braden Varga also forced the team to change the car number font. I know that sounds minor in the grand scheme of things, but it's a total kind of, it's a big middle finger to the team that Braden Varga had such a successful season for that they had to switch anything up. So the new number font they chose looks pretty stout, and it's going to be very, very common up front this year, I believe. You see the 95, that's a teammate car as well. We're going to go ahead and let the race play out here with lap traffic. It might actually, I've been on top of it all night, but now it's just, I've been too caught up with the racing, and we're down to 6 laps to go. Even without the lap traffic, your lead group is actually kind of separated from the secondary group, and that's not even because of the lap traffic. So the racing is just getting, they're just dialing it up here at the end to try and really get the job done. Set the phasers to kill. So yeah, about 15 cars really in the mix for the win here. Of course, green-white checkers is in effect. If we get a caution, it could go to overtime here today. But hopefully that is not the case. Just want to see the race finish here. Wyatt Wilkinson in the mix in the closing laps with 5 laps to go. Could we see a first-time winner here tonight? Oh, he's getting right up in the number 1. Giving him a little bit of a side draft there, but it looks like Wilkinson's going to be able to prevail and make a move up ahead of him. Number 6, that's Jonah Burridge in the top 15 as well. Chad Hertenstein coming back. Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster up front here. Drivers come to the front, drop to the back, come to the front, drop to the back. How about the winningest driver in the series, Tyler Shangle, making his move back up to the front as well. Keep your eyes on the outside catch fence of the track for the lights. The green lights are on right now. Keep your eyes just in case we get a caution. Those lights will turn yellow. And with 3 laps to go now, if we do get a caution with more than 1 lap to go, it would be green-white checkers overtime. And drivers not sure if they've got enough fuel in the tank to make too many overtime finishes here tonight. So hopefully it stays green and we don't get that caution. Got a couple Biffle tribute cars right there in the top 2 spots. Liz Shangle leads the way in the number 50. Tyler Shangle in second. Sebastian Torres running in third. Lap traffic, just 2 more laps to go, and it looks like the stage is set for the final push to the finish. Tyler takes the lead here. It's been a year plus since Tyler's last win. Will he actually start winning and bringing the relevance back to the veteran circuit of racers out there? Or are we still going to see the rookie rising, where all these newcomers continue to steal the show each week? Like Tyler made his move a little bit too soon. He's going to get stuck up high to dry. Dave Steele Jr. to the front. And the 95 proven super speedway winner, James Fireball Robert, right there on his back bumper. Dropping all the way low. You see Wyatt Wilkinson getting 4 wide on the backside. Is he going to try to make his way back up through the field? They come around the racetrack. The white flag will be waving. 1 more lap to go here tonight from Armory Digital Superspeedway. Who's going to have the victory here tonight in Seattle? James leads. Tom's second, but here he is on the move. Eli the Wolf, Wyatt Wilkinson. All these drivers right there in striking distance. Tristan Reams as well has had some success at super speedway races. Here goes Eli for the lead. Eli has failed to win in his couple years racing in the Cup Series here. Is Tristan Reams going to have anything to say? Tristan's right there. He's closing in on the back bumper. The bucked up energy number 15. He's going to fall in line right behind Eli. Eli ain't going to have any competition as the draft's starting to help a little bit, but not enough. Eli the Wolf takes home the victory tonight here in Seattle. His first career win in the Kellen Relic Racing Dodge Charger number 94. Stellar job. A lot of new faces up in the top 10 here tonight. Great run for all of those that came home with the top 10 finish. Everyone in the top 15 for surviving here tonight. Everyone in the top 30 that still were running. Might have been an endurance race, but everyone kind of kept it clean and really put together a good race here tonight. So now he can kind of rest easy and put that put it behind him that he's now a winner. No longer is he going to have that weight on his shoulders telling him that he's not a Sigma Cup winner. He's had heartbreak more than most drivers trying to get that first win, and finally gets through here tonight there's been many times you see, even in our ads for the streams, Heartbreak Hotel, the number 94 Veli the Wolf was there pretty much on a couple occasions through his rookie campaign. So race 1 in the books, folks. Kind of sets the stage for the year, gives us a bouncing board to jump off of and figure out who is going to be the contenders this year. Evidently it ruled a caution after the race. That is not correct. We only had 3 cautions here tonight. Pretty light for a super speedway. And we know for a fact there's going to be at least one happy camper here tonight celebrating the victory.
Greg, did you have any?
Alrighty, folks, thanks for tuning in tonight. Great race, great start to the season. We do have a couple more streams this week, but they're going to be within the hour mark, so nothing this strenuous for the rest of the week. Thanks again, folks. Have a great night. Stay safe out there. And until next time,